Well, hello. It is a privilege to be with you today. A real privilege. You know, they give you a stage, they give you a microphone, and they say talk. And I've given a great deal of thought to what we might discuss in our time together. We could talk about goal setting, we could talk about success principles, we could talk about personal development. But I want to talk about something more fundamental, something that comes before all of that. I want to talk about the single most important transaction you will ever make in your life. It is not a transaction of money. It is not a transaction of goods. It is a transaction of the Spirit. I want to talk about the currency of courage, and more specifically, I want to talk about how you spend your fears to buy your future. You see, most people live their lives in a state of quiet negotiation with their own apprehension. They stand at the edge of a dream, a goal, a new endeavor, and they feel that familiar tightening in the chest, that quickening of the pulse. That voice in the back of the mind that says, be careful. What if you fail? What will they think? Is it safe? And most people, I'm sad to say, listen to that voice. They step back from the edge. They retreat into the familiar, the comfortable, the known. And in that retreat, they make a tragic purchase. They spend a small piece of their future for a large dose of temporary comfort. They trade possibility for security. They trade growth for safety. And they do not realize that the security is an illusion and the safety is a cage. I am here today to propose a radical new way of thinking about that feeling, that fear, that hesitation. I want you to stop seeing it as a stop sign. I want you to start seeing it as a price tag. You have within you a unique form of currency. It is not printed on paper. It is minted in the nervous system. It is the currency of your comfort, your pride, your ego, your familiarity. We might simply call it the currency of fear. Every meaningful step forward in your life, every upgrade in your character, every expansion of your capacity, every increase in your fortune has a price tag attached to it. And that price is always paid in this internal currency. The dream job has a price tag. The repaired relationship has a price tag. The act of forgiveness has a price tag. The starting of the business has a price tag. The difficult conversation has a price tag. The price is always a piece of your comfort, piece of your old self, a withdrawal from your account of timidity. Now, here's the critical realization. You already possess this currency. You are already rich in fear. Everyone is. The brave person is not someone who feels no fear. That is a fool or a psychopath. The brave person, the successful person, the person who builds a remarkable future is simply someone who has learned to be a skilled spender of this currency. They have learned to recognize the price tag. And they have developed the will to pay it. They understand a fundamental law. You cannot buy the treasures of tomorrow with the coins of comfort you hoarded yesterday. You must spend your current fear to purchase your future freedom. Let me illustrate. Imagine a young man who dreams of being a public speaker. But the thought of standing on a stage under bright lights with hundreds of eyes upon him fills him with absolute dread. That visceral fear is the price tag. It is the exact cost of the skill he wants to acquire. The future he wants to inhabit. He has two choices. He can clutch his currency of fear tightly to his chest. He can protect it. He can say, I am too afraid. It's not for me. And in doing so, he guarantees that his future will be exactly like his present, minus the dream. Or he can make the transaction. He can spend the fear. He can walk, knees trembling, onto a small stage at a local club. He can feel the panic, do it anyway, and pay the price. And what does he purchase with that? Spent fear? He purchases a small amount of experience. A tiny bit of confidence. A data point that says, I survived. That experience, that confidence is now an asset. It is part of his future. The next time, the price tag might be a little smaller. Or he might have to spend a little more fear for a bigger stage. But he now understands the market. He is trading in the currency of his own courage. The same is true for the woman who stays in a job she has outgrown. The fear of the unknown, the fear of failure, the fear of a temporary step back. In income, these are the price tags on the door to a more fulfilling career. She can keep her currency. She can stay put and pay for her stagnation with slow, soul-crushing frustration. Or she can spend the fear. She can update her resume, make the calls, go on the interviews, face the possibility of rejection. She spends the currency of her apprehension, and she purchases the possibility of a new beginning. We do this in relationships. The fear of vulnerability is the price tag for intimacy. You can keep your currency, keep your walls up, protect your heart, and purchase a life of loneliness. Or you can spend the fear. You can open up, say the hard thing, express the real feeling, risk being seen. You spend the currency of self-protection, and you purchase the chance for a deeper connection. The marketplace of achievement is a strange bazaar. It does not accept cash. It does not accept credit. It only accepts one form of payment: personal courage. You lay your fear on the counter, and you receive a product called growth. You lay your discomfort on the counter, and you receive a product called experience. You lay your pride on the counter, and you receive a product called wisdom. This is the economy of the extraordinary life. Now, why is this so difficult? Because we are born misers with this currency. We are natural hoarders of comfort. From a young age, we learn to avoid pain, to seek pleasure, to stay in the warm, familiar cave. And that instinct serves us well for survival. But for significance, for greatness, for a life of true fulfillment, it is a prison guard. The instinct that says pull back must be consciously overridden by the will that says step forward. This is the essence of self-discipline. It is not about punishing yourself. It is about investing yourself. It is about making strategic withdrawals from your emotional savings account to fund the venture of your future. Let's talk about the anatomy of a fear transaction. First, you must see the price tag clearly. This is the moment of recognition. You feel the clutch in your stomach about asking for the raise. That clutch is the price tag. You feel the dread about making the sales call. That dread is the price tag. You feel the anxiety about admitting you were wrong. That anxiety is the price tag. Most people try to numb this feeling, to ignore it, to rationalize it away. Don't do that. See it for what it is, the cost of the next level. Name it. The price of this promotion is facing my fear of my boss's rejection. The price of this business is facing my fear of financial instability for 6 months. Second, you must evaluate the potential purchase. Is what lies on the other side of this fear worth the price? Is the skill, the relationship, the opportunity, the personal victory valuable enough to you to part with this precious currency of your comfort? This is where your why becomes critical. If your dream is small, the price will always feel too high. But if your vision for your future is compelling, vivid, and emotionally charged, you will become willing to pay almost any price. A powerful enough why can make you brave. It can make you a bold spender. You must see the future you are buying more clearly than you feel the fear you are spending of. Third, you must act. You must make the transaction. This is the moment of courage. It is not the feeling of fearlessness. It is the action taken while the fear is still present. You feel the fear, you acknowledge the price tag, you see the valuable future on the other side, and you write the check anyway. You walk into the office, you dial the phone, you publish the article, you launch the product, you say, I love you first. Action is the act of handing your fear over the counter. And the moment you do, the transaction is complete. The fear is spent. It is gone. You cannot get it back. And in its place, you now hold a new asset, the experience, the lesson, the step forward. Here's the miraculous thing about this economy. The more you spend, the richer you become. This is the opposite of a financial currency. If you spend all your money, you become poor. But if you spend all your fears, you become powerful. Your courage account grows through expenditure. Every time you spend a fear, you earn a dividend of confidence. That confidence is then added to your balance, and it can be used to make even larger, more daring purchases in the future. The person who has spent many small fears can eventually afford to spend one massive fear on a life-changing venture. They have built up their spiritual credit. Look at the people you admire, the ones who have built the lives you aspire to. Do not be deceived by their current confidence. That is their accumulated wealth. Ask about their early days. You will find a history of bold spending. They spent the fear of rejection until they developed resilience. They spent the fear of failure until they developed competence. They spent the fear of criticism until they developed conviction. They are not fear-free. They are fear investors. They put their fears to work for them. Now let's talk about the counterfeit currency. There is a false coin in this economy. It is called procrastination. Procrastination is the act of looking at the price tag and saying, I will pay it tomorrow. It is a promise to spend the fear later. But later never comes. And while you wait, the price often goes up. The dream fades. The opportunity passes. The relationship cools. Procrastination is not time management, it is fear management. And it is poor management. It is like letting your currency rot in a damp cellar. It gains no interest, it only decays. Another counterfeit is blame. Blame is an attempt to get someone else to pay the price for your future. If my boss weren't so difficult, I'd ask for the raise. If the economy were better, I'd start the business. If my spouse were more supportive, I'd go back to school. This is the language of a bankrupt courage account. You are trying to purchase your future with someone else's discomfort. It cannot be done. The marketplace of achievement only accepts your own currency, minted in your own soul. No one can be brave for you. So how do you become a wise and wealthy spender of this currency? You start small. You practice. You do not try to spend your entire life savings of fear on one gigantic, terrifying purchase on your first day. You will likely freeze. You start with small daily transactions. The fear of starting a conversation with a stranger. Spend it. The fear of going to the gym for the first time. Spend it. The fear of turning off the television and opening a book on personal finance. Spend it. Each of these is a small withdrawal. Each purchase makes you slightly richer in experience, slightly poorer in timidity. You keep a ledger. At the end of the day, ask yourself, what fear did I spend today? What small purchase did I make for my future? Did you have a difficult conversation you'd been avoiding? That's a transaction. Did you attempt something you weren't sure you could do? That's a transaction. Did you resist the easy temptation in favor of the right choice? That's a transaction. If your day had no fear spending, you made no investment in your tomorrow. You merely maintained the status quo. You must also learn to distinguish between prudent fear and paralyzing fear. Prudent fear is the price tag on a foolish risk. Jumping off a cliff without a parachute has a fear price tag for a good reason. The purchase is destruction. That is a transaction you should not make. Paralyzing fear is the price tag on a necessary growth. It shouts just as loudly, but the product it guards is valuable. Learning to tell the difference is the wisdom of this economy. The fear that protects your life is good. The fear that protects your limitations is your enemy. Your future is not something that happens to you. It is not a pre-printed ticket. It is a custom-built masterpiece. And the only way to acquire the materials, to hire the architect, to pay the builders, is with this internal currency. The beautiful home of your dreams costs fear. The thriving business costs fear. The vibrant health costs fear. The loving family costs fear. There is no other way. The world is divided into two kinds of people, hoarders and spenders. The hoarders sit on their pile of unused fear, protecting it, watching their dreams gather. Dust in the store window, always just out of reach because they cannot bear the cost. They grow old clutching their currency, and in the end, they take it with them, unspent, into a grave of regret. It is the ultimate wasted fortune. The spenders are different. They walk through the marketplace of life with a determined look. They see a skill they want. They check the price tag, a dose of embarrassment and effort, and they pay it. They see a relationship they want to mend. They check the price tag, a chunk of their pride, and they pay it. They see a fortune they want to build. They check the price tag, years of uncertainty and grind, and they pay it. They are not unafraid. They are consumers of fear. And with every transaction, their future becomes more tangible, more real, more theirs. So I ask you today, right now, what is the most valuable future you can imagine for yourself? See it clearly. Now, find the price tag. What fear is attached to it? Is it the fear of rejection, the fear of failure, the fear of looking foolish, the fear of hard work, the fear of success itself? Find that fear. Hold it in your mind. That is the exact coin required. That feeling in your gut is the currency. Now, make a decision. Are you a hoarder or a spender? Will you clutch that coin, turn away, and return to the small, familiar room of your current life? Or will you step up to the counter of your destiny, place that fear down and say, I'll take that future, please? The transaction is simple. The spending is the doing. Do the thing you fear. Do it while you're afraid. That is the act of purchase. And the moment you do, the deed to a piece of your new future is transferred to your name. It may be a small plot at first, but spend enough and soon you will own a vast and beautiful estate called a life well lived. a life of courage, a life of no regrets. Do not go to your grave with a fortune of unspent fear. That is the true poverty. Spend it lavishly. Spend it wisely. Spend it today. Buy back your future from the grip of apprehension, one brave act at a time. Thank you, and may your next transaction be your bravest one. Let's talk about the bank where this currency is held. It's a unique institution. It doesn't have a street address. It exists within the vault of your own mind. This bank holds two primary accounts. The first is your savings account of safety. This is where you deposit all your desires for comfort, for ease, for the absence of risk. Every time you choose the known over the unknown, you make a deposit here. The balance in this account feels good in the short term. It gives you a feeling of security, but it pays no interest. In fact, with inflation of time and missed opportunity, its value actually depreciates. The second and far more important account is your investment account of growth. This is where you make deposits of spent fear. Every time you act with courage, you transfer currency from your savings account of safety into this investment account of growth. This account pays compound interest. The interest is paid in confidence, in skill, in resilience, in opportunity. The more you invest, the greater your returns. The problem for most people is they are making all their deposits in the wrong account. They are obsessed with building their savings account of safety to an enormous size, thinking that a large enough pile of comfort will finally make them happy. But happiness is not found in the savings account. It is found in the dividends paid by the investment account, the joy of accomplishment, the pride of mastery, the warmth of deep connection. These are the dividends of courage. You must become your own bank manager. You must consciously, deliberately, every day authorize transfers from safety into growth. You must audit your own books. At the end of each week, ask yourself, did I make more deposits into my safety account or my growth account this week? If you spent the week avoiding difficult conversations, shying away from new tasks, clinging to routines, then you enriched your safety account and impoverished your future. If you spent the week trying one new thing, having one hard talk, learning one new skill, then you made a powerful investment. Your net worth in the world is not determined by the balance in your financial bank. It is determined by the balance in your courage investment account. That is the true measure of your potential. A person with $1 million in the bank, but an empty courage account is one setback away from ruin. A person with a modest bank account, but an overflowing courage account can build a fortune from scratch because their true capital is internal and it is limitless. Now let's discuss the different denominations of this currency. Fear comes in many sizes. There is the small change of daily apprehension, the fear of speaking up in a meeting, the fear of sending an email that might be criticized, the fear of wearing something different. This is the copper and fear. It's jangling in your pocket every day. Then there are the paper bills, the fear of asking for a significant raise, the fear of ending a relationship that isn't working, the fear of moving to a new city. These are the 20s and 50s. They represent more substantial risks. Then there are the large denominations, the gold coins of fear, the fear of starting your own company, the fear of writing the book that's in your heart, the fear of a major life change after decades in one pattern. These are the $100 bills, the $1,000 notes. You cannot spend a $1,000 note on a purchase that costs only a dime. That's overpaying. And you cannot try to buy a mansion with a pocket full of pennies. That's underpaying. You must learn the value of your fears and match them to the appropriate purchase. Often, people feel a massive gold coin fear about something that actually only requires a few silver coins of effort. They catastrophize. They imagine the worst case scenario as a certainty, and the fear swells to a denomination far larger than the actual price. Your job is to assess the real cost. Is the fear proportional to the risk? Or have you, through imagination and avoidance, printed a false, inflated currency? The only way to know is to make the purchase. Spend a small amount of courage as a test. You'll quickly learn the true market value. Another key is understanding that this currency is non-transferable. You cannot give your fear to someone else to spend for you. A parent cannot spend courage to give their child confidence. A manager cannot spend bravery to give an employee initiative. Each person must spend their own. This is why you can guide, you can teach, you can inspire, but you cannot bestow courage. It is the most personal form of wealth there is. This is also why comparing yourself to others is a futile exercise. You see someone else make a seemingly easy purchase, giving a speech, taking a risk, and you think they have no fear. No. They have simply spent a currency they earned through previous unseen transactions. They have already paid the price in smaller installments over time. You are seeing their balance, not their transaction history. You must write your own history. You must make your own deposits. Let's talk about bankruptcy in this economy. Courage bankruptcy is a state of being where your account of fear is so full and your account of spend. Courage is so empty that you can no longer afford to make even the smallest purchase for your future. You are emotionally insolvent. Every opportunity looks too expensive. Every dream has a price tag you cannot fathom paying. This is the state of depression, of hopelessness, of why bother. The way out of courage bankruptcy is not a sudden windfall. You don't win the lottery of bravery. You must begin a strict regimen of micro investments. You must force yourself to spend the tiniest coins. Make your bed when you don't feel like it. That's a microtransaction. Go for a 5-minute walk. That's a microtransaction. Read 5 pages of a good book. That's a microtransaction. These actions are like putting spare change into your investment account. It seems insignificant, but over time, with relentless consistency, it begins to compound. You start to feel a slight return, a tiny bit of pride, a small sense of control. That feeling is the interest. You reinvest it. You spend a slightly larger coin. You initiate a conversation. You clean a cluttered room. You apologize for a small mistake. Each transaction rebuilds your spiritual cred. Eventually, you are no longer bankrupt. You are back in the marketplace, a modest but active trader in your own destiny. One of the most profound applications of this principle is in the realm of failure. Failure is not the opposite of success. It is often the price of it. When you attempt something brave and fall short, you have not lost your currency. You have spent it. You paid the price. But what did you purchase? You did not purchase the outcome you wanted. You purchased something far more valuable, education. You purchased data. You purchased the knowledge of what doesn't work. You purchased resilience. You purchased the right to say, I tried, which is a more noble title than I wondered. Thomas Edison did not fail 10,000 times. He successfully discovered 10,000 ways that did not work. He was a prolific spender of the currency of perseverance. Each experiment was a transaction. Each failure was a purchase of invaluable information that led him step by costly step to the final glorious success. Reframe your failures as purchases. Ask not what did I lose, but what did I buy? If you bought wisdom, if you bought toughness, if you bought clarity, then it was a splendid investment. The person who never fails is the person who never buys anything of real value. They're window shopping through life, admiring the futures in the display case, but never approaching the counter, never parting with their precious, hoarded fear. They leave this life with their currency intact and their potential untapped. What a tragic bargain. Finally, let's talk about the ultimate destination of this currency. You are spending your fears to buy your future. But what is that future? It is not a static place. It is a person. The future you are purchasing is a more capable, more confident, more resilient, and more significant version of yourself. You are spending the currency of who you are to purchase the person you are becoming. Every act of courage is an act of self-creation. You are sculpting your future self with the chisel of present fear. The timid person stays as they are. The brave person evolves. When you look ahead and feel fear, you are not looking at an obstacle. You are looking at the raw material for your own transformation. The fear is the rough stone. The courageous action is the strike of the chisel. The future you is the masterpiece emerging from the block. So do not resent the fear. Do not curse the price. The higher the price, the more valuable the future self you are buying. The most expensive futures, the lives of great impact, deep love, vast achievement require the largest expenditures. They cost everything you have in your fear account. But the return is a life that echoes through time. A life that matters. A life that was truly lived. This is the great economy of the human spirit. It is fair. It is open to all. The currency is distributed equally at the start. Everyone is born with a full measure of fear. What you do with it is your life's work. Will you be a miser, clutching your coins as your dreams turn to dust? Or will you be a philanthropist of courage, spending lavishly on the future of your own potential, investing in the person you have the power to become? The market is open. The counter is before you. The future is on display. It's time to spend. Thank you.